Favi, we have you back today to talk about another interesting topic, which is Major League Soccer better than the Saudi Pro League? This has been a hot topic. A lot of people have been debating it because of the performance of the Club World Cup. Al Hilal has beaten Manchester City to advance to the round of eight. Inter Miami was the final team of Major League Soccer, and they obviously lost to PSG. So there is one team from the Saudi League in the round of eight, no MLS teams left. This is, I mean, I did a poll, man, and it was pretty close. It was almost 50-50. So this is something that a lot of people are truly split on.
Yeah, I mean, we've only seen a couple of games, and those couple of games, honestly, MLS or Inter Miami got smoked, and then even DC United had, I think they played some teams in the Middle East as well, and they last year and they got smoked as well. This is a tough one because are we looking at the same thing as Liga MX? Are we looking at the Saudi League being very, very strong at the top and the other teams not being as strong? I think that might be a little bit more what we're talking about here. And then within MLS, you have teams that are good all throughout the 30 teams, right? So I don't know. It's an interesting topic, but all I know is the Saudi League is on the come up. I mean, the Saudi League.
Hey, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're trying to hit 8,000 subscribers by the end of the Club World Cup. And with your help, I know we can reach that goal. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of my videos. Now, back to the video.
Not only did they beat Manchester City, but they did it in a fashion where it wasn't like a smash and grab. They beat them 4-3. Like this is a not a pounding, but it's a win. So they didn't have to play bunker ball. They didn't have to kill the game. They really beat Man City playing the beautiful game of soccer. So it's interesting.
Well, another thing too of why I wanted to bring this up is because I got a lot of flack saying that the Inter Miami performance against PSG was a little embarrassing because they didn't really have a chance. They looked really lethargic, uninspired, maybe even a little shook, right, in that match.
Yeah.
And then we see, because a lot of people think Inter Miami is the most talented team in MLS, right? And then on the counterpoint, a lot of people think Al Hilal is the most talented team in the Saudi Pro League. So, yes, Saudi spends a lot of money, which we're going to compare that, what their top end teams are, our top end teams, and their bottom teams, and our bottom teams. But Manchester City has a way more expensive roster than Al Hilal does. They do. They have, if we had to put it in MLS terms, every single player on Manchester City is a DP.
Oh,
every player on the team. I'm talking 1 through 26. All of them are DPs. Okay. Al Hilal probably has like 8 DPs if we're talking about MLS rules. Designated players, if you guys don't know, which means you can a player that's like another level of quality and obviously salary. MLS only allows three DPs per team in MLS. So you see a team with essentially 8 DPs beat a team with 26 DPs. And it really makes you think like, man, this team just punched above their weight, had an upset. And here's the thing, Favi. If Al Hilal had lost that game like 2-0, but they looked good, I would have had respect for them anyway and be like, man, they lost this game, but they played a very good team. They looked really competent against them, and they gave them a run for their money.
Yeah.
But they didn't just do that. They beat them.
Yeah, I mean, we thought Manchester City was going to be the favorites to win the whole thing. And to see how, the round of 16 came about, it's kind of crazy. Like literally 3 upsets happened. So it was something exciting to see. Al Hilal is doing something that I think every team should want to do. I think, yes, they do have an influx of a lot of money. Yes, it's Saudi money. Yes, a lot of that is not transferable to the American game, but let's not kid here. These American owners, they have money. Like, let's be real. Like, yes, it's not Saudi money, but we have money on this side too. And to see Jorge Mas, a person that's probably not one of the richest owners in the league, say that money is not an object, all these other American teams should be spending a lot more money than they are. And to use the Club World Cup to go ahead and gain a fan base, to try to get casuals, I know for a fact Al Hilal has more fans today than they did two or 3 days ago. I know for a fact Al Hilal has gained the respect of a lot of soccer fans around the world because they beat Man City. And I don't want to hear, oh, it's a preseason tournament. Oh, they're tired legs. Because Manchester City looked like a team that was going to win it all. So I think MLS could easily take some notes from the Saudi League. Maybe not all the willy nilly approach like the Saudi League is, but man, like we're in 2025. Let's get rid of these restrictions. I mean, I totally understand when the league was starting, but we're almost 30 years in.
We are 30 years in.
Yeah, we're 30 years in, 30 years in. The league is not going to fold. Like, I think we're at a point with media, with social media, with everything that it's kind of impossible for an entity this big to fail. You're still going to get people to show up your games. It's not like you're getting people to show up for superstars. You're getting 60,000 people showing up to Charlotte because they want to watch soccer and high-level soccer. It's not like they're all going to leave once Wilfred Zaha leaves, you know? So my whole thing is, man, put some nitrous in this. Like, if you want to catch the average American sports fan, you need to invest money. Yes, it's nice being the Moneyball league in the world. Yes, it's awesome to beat the Mexican teams when you spend 1/8 of their salary. But man, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of moneyballing. I'm tired of, oh, well, you can't have too much growth too fast. Yeah, but we can add a team almost every year. Like, what's going on? Let's let these owners spend and raise the floor. That's another one. Make the owner spend, because you're going to have guys that are getting away with, doing. Okay, Colorado Rapids have changed, but the Colorado Rapids method, the San Jose Earthquakes method, where the Real Salt Lake method, where you're getting away because you're just living up to the status quo. And personally, I want to see a superpower in MLS. I want to see a team like America, because I don't think there's just going to be one. I think you're going to get the LAs. You're going to get New York City FC. Personally, if MLS got rid of the rules, I think New York City FC has a very big chance to becoming a superpower in MLS, because they have that Saudi money, right? They could be a feeder team. Shoot, if there was no regulations, I bet you anything Man City would send way more loans. Even the New York Red Bulls. So my whole thing is, man, like, yes, these rules were implemented for us back then when there was a worry that the league would fold. Totally understand that. Thank you. They worked for 30 years. Now, this is a new era. I know we joke about MLS 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. This should be MLS 2.0 right now, where we have at least 6 DPs. In my opinion,
I don't want DPs anymore. I just want, like, we just saw, sorry to cut you off, but we just saw that Miami's spending $50 million on their salaries. I want to see them have $50 million just to spend. Let them spend.
I agree, but I'm also a realist. I know they're not going to want to go away with these rules that have been around for so long. I think if we gradually increase a DP every 3 years, we can get there.
But if you're going to do that, why not just, if you're willing to spend that kind of money, why not just have a salary cap of 50 million and spend how you want? And because, like, I'm looking at the Al Hilal salaries. I want to share this real quick because I want to compare these leagues. This is Al Hilal's salary and like all their top players, what they make. So people were saying, yeah, they spend all this money. Yes, they do spend a lot of money, guys. They spend a lot of money. Let me zoom in for this so you guys can see a little better. Okay. They do spend a lot of money, but they also overpay. Like Mitrovic was a very good striker at Fulham, very good striker. He's not making 25 million euros in any other league in the world. They're not paying that. It's not happening. They're probably paying 2 to 3 times more what he's actually worth on an annual basis in Saudi to get him to come here. Ronaldo obviously is making 200 million a year.
But so that happens in MLS too. Look at Lorenzo Insigne.
Yeah, but Lorenzo Insigne was overpaid, but he wasn't making 25 million. Ronaldo's, think about this. Messi's making 20 million. Ronaldo's making 200 million. So if Messi was in Saudi Arabia, he would be making 200 million dollars. He took 10 times less money to come to MLS. MLS isn't having to pay that type of inflated salary to get him, and they're willing to spend this. Now, look, I'm not saying they have to spend like this. And this is kind of like we need to compare, like, because the original obviously topic is MLS better than Saudi Arabia? The best teams in Saudi Arabia are better than the best teams in MLS. That is true. That is true. Okay. But the bottom of the league is just not very good. It's not a good league. If we're being honest, it's not a good league. Look how top heavy this is, which a lot of leagues are in Europe and other places around the world. Al Hilal, Al Nassr, Al Ali, and Al Ittihad are obviously all clubs over $100 million in value. Some almost, Al Hilal is almost 160 million. But look how bad their bad is. I think that's Al Najma. We're $2 million. Worst team in the league. Like the bottom of this league is garbage. So yes, the top is really good and they're competing, but their bottom is so bad that some of these teams aren't even being challenged on a week-to-week basis, depending on who they play. Now, if we look at Major League Soccer, Fabi, and I want to get you back in here to see what you think. Inter Miami is the most valuable team in Major League Soccer. They're worth 66 million euros compared to Al Hilal's 161 million euros. Now, if we look at the least valuable team in Major League Soccer is Toronto FC, who just released Insigne and Bernardeschi, which they had some value. So theirs is obviously shot down. They probably were a little higher. Montreal is the worst team talent-wise in the league, in my opinion. They're the worst team in the league talent-wise. They're worth $23 million. $23 million. If you took the worst, so if you took Montreal, put them in the Saudi league, they would be pretty much in the middle of the Saudi league, almost the top half to the middle. So the worst team in Major League Soccer would be a middle of the pack team in the Saudi league. So yes, Saudi's league, their best are better, but their worst are way, way, way worse. And you can't just consider who the best teams are. It's all about the middle, the bottom, the top, everything in between is what determines how good your league is. So that's why I think MLS is better than the Saudi league, because they're playing better teams on a week-to-week basis. You don't get 2 or 3 good matchups a year. You're playing someone somewhat close to you in quality on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah. I still think the top teams. I mean, look at, like, go back to the MLS one, if you don't mind. Go all the way to the top. All right, go back now. Sorry.
You're good.
If you take a look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that would be more valuable than any MLS team.
5 teams. There'd be 5.
5. Okay.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
5 teams. So that's just going to be too tough of a deficit, I think, for MLS to kind of play against those type of teams every week. I mean, yeah, maybe you can get lucky against the 5th-ranked team, but I mean, Al Ittihad, they have Benzema. These teams, they have hitters. Like, I hate to say it, don't get me wrong, I love Daniel Gazdag, but if you have, Karim Benzema or Daniel Gazdag, I think you're in a different kind of caliber of a team. But personally, it would be tough for MLS to be better than the Saudi League. I think it's something where we should be looking to be like them in some way. And I think I'm going to make a big take right now. I don't think the Saudi League is going to fail like the Chinese Pro League. Personally, I think the Saudi League is here to stay. Maybe they don't have the fans to kind of, keep up with all of the influx in money, and then this is backed by the government, and then we get into politics of how they got that money, and I don't want to hear that. What I want to hear and talk about is the soccer and the money that's being spent with the soccer, right? Me saying that MLS could take some things from the Saudi League means that, hey, spend some money. Get Karim Benzema, get these people that are going to fill stadiums. I mean, MLS stadiums are already filled, So it's like, I don't think they're going to stop going to MLS games if Karim Benzema decides to leave, right? So in my opinion, I think MLS has a lot to learn, and I think the Saudi League is better. And I think that match from the Club World Cup really just put the icing on the cake for me. I mean, like cherry on top, we know for a fact that the Saudi League is better now.
Okay, well, I want to point something out because of what you just said a second ago. Okay. So when you look at the drop off, so the sixth best team is Al Shabaab. They're worth 34 million euros. Okay. That is the sixth best or most valuable team in the Saudi League. All right. So if we go back to the MLS teams, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 teams are worth more in MLS than the sixth most expensive team in the Saudi League. 20, did I say 24?
Yeah, 24.
Yeah,
But
24. So, but the reason why I mention that is because that means the sixth best team is less quality than 24 other teams, meaning that these teams are playing better teams on a week to week basis, like I said. And yes, the best teams in Saudi are going to win bigger tournaments. We both can acknowledge that. That's going to happen because they have better players. But just because you have a couple good teams does not mean you're a better league, in my opinion.
mm,
Because like I said, it's not about who your best is, it's who's your worst. Like the worst in the Saudi league is really, really bad. Like really bad, Fabi. I'm talking like worst in USL bad.
and this is like we're looking at the total value of the
Of each
players on the
team.
roster.
Exactly. Yes. We're looking at the total value of each team, like like the value of their most expensive players and all that. So when you look at the top of the Saudi league is obviously better, but the middle part is really and the bottom is really bad. MLS is a solid top bottom league that needs to be better. I'm not apologizing for it or saying that it doesn't need to improve. It of course it does. But but when you look at a league, you got to average everything.
Would you
Average everything.
would you consider Liga MX better?
In the Saudi league?
No, than MLS.
Yes, it is.
Okay, but
Yes, it is.
their bottom half, yeah, like we're looking at it, their bottom half is definitely lacking a compared to like a Montreal, right? Their lowest is 21 million, and their highest with America is 95.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So like it's about equal with MLS, except their top is a little better. That's why I think Liga MX is better than Major League Soccer. But Saudi Arabia obviously have four really good teams. They compete very well, but they're not really playing anybody good on a week to week basis. All these teams in the bottom half, Avi, these teams that aren't even worth like 10 million or less, 12 million, 13 million, would get smoked by these MLS teams. They don't have the same quality of talent. So
Yeah,
the league is very, very top heavy, but it's not traditional top heavy. It's not like the Eredivisie. It's not like the Portuguese league. It's not like that, or the Turkish league, because those leagues do have a dip in quality when you get to like the middle and the top or the bottom of the roster or the league. But this is drastic, man. This is like really, really. This is like off a cliff dive in quality, and Major League Soccer should try to build their rosters more like the top heavy teams in the Saudi league. Like hopefully they can acquire more talent like that, but not overpay to that, to that level. I don't want to start paying guys like Ronaldo $200 million. I want to be more smart with the money we spend, but we need to invest more. And look, props to the Saudi league. I'm not here to talk negatively about them. They just beat Manchester City.
right.
They just beat me. And think about this, Fly. This is a perfect example, right? Perfect example. Who just won the Champions League?
PSG.
Okay. Does that mean that the French league is now better than the Premier League?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Just because you have a couple teams that are better than some other leagues
That's true.
doesn't mean that you're the best league in the world. It just means you have the best team or a couple teams. So I personally think Major League Soccer is a better league with worse top end teams, but they're better from top to bottom if you average it out than the Saudi league. And hopefully Major League Soccer can soon catch up to the Saudi league as far as their top end talent.
Yeah, but once Messi leaves, that's going to be tough.
I mean, it probably will be. There's supposed to be a board meeting soon, I think, with Major League Soccer, where they're going to vote on some things. We'll see if anything happens to that. But, hopefully Major League Soccer can look at Saudi and kind of like meet in the middle, not go that extreme, but kind of do more than what they're doing now. Because think about this, and this is another props to Al Hilal. They have 8 DPs essentially on their team that play. Manchester City has 26. And because they had just that little bit more talent and those quality players, they were able to slay a giant.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to talk a little bit about that board meeting. Not adding a 4th DP was a massive failure. And for you to think that that wasn't on the table, or owners weren't thinking about it, is, or anybody that's listening, is completely wrong. Take a look at Jordi Alba's contract, and you'll know Jorge Mas and Inter Miami thought the 4th DP rule would be in effect before this year, because he took a TAM deal for the first 2 years, and then the 3rd year he became a DP. So when Javier Mascherano was saying it's physically not possible for us to add Neymar, it was because Jordi Alba was a DP and the rule didn't change. So one, the owners ruined whatever Inter Miami had planned to bring in another player. Okay, so number 2, Neymar could have actually came here if that rule was done. And if I'm an Apple exec, man, I'm like, what the heck is going on? We could have had MSN at the Club World Cup, all because the Colorado Rapids and the Earthquakes didn't want to add a 4th DP. No, like this is crazy. We're letting the cheap owners that are in MLS, or the owners that want to keep the status quo, because in reality, every year this Forbes valuation comes out of these teams, and they're like, oh, we're worth 800 billion, we're worth more than Crystal Palace, and they're okay just sitting on their golden goose or their golden egg, right? I mean, it's something that it's very frustrating, because this type of slow grind is going to make MLS something in 50 years. We don't have 50 years, you and me, Will. We have 30 years, 20 years. We want to see in our lifetime MLS compete with just Brazil. Like, are you serious? Like, can we just compete with the Americas? Like, let's go ahead and loosen up the restrictions, and stop letting these cheap owners, or the owners that don't really care about growing the game in the States, not run this league.
I agree. And you know what? I want to be, I don't want to be try to chase any of these European leagues anymore. I want to chase the Brazilian league. I want to be the Brazilian league. That's what my goal is. That's who I think we should be trying to not just replicate, but trying to chase. I mean, they have a perfect balance, Favi. I'm going to pull up their transfer market values, but they have very similar transfer market values as like what the Saudi higher end teams have. They just have a better floor than the Saudi teams. They have a way higher floor. I'm sharing it right now. Okay. So the most expensive team in the Brazilian league is Palmeiras, 256. Okay. 256. And
let me put that in perspective. That's 2.5 times bigger than America. Club America.
And the cheapest team is 14 mil, but look at this. Okay. 80 million is so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They have 14 teams with a value of 80 million or more, which 80 million would be the most in MLS.
Yeah.
So they have 14 teams with the higher value than that. That's the league I'm trying to replicate. That's the league I'm trying to chase. Is that league?
Yeah, Brazil gained respect across the world with this tournament. And man, just looking at those numbers, you're like, how come MLS can't at least try to be close to it,
I agree. So you think that Saudi's better. I think MLS is better. I think it's really close just because those top end teams do have weight, but the bottom is just so bad. I'd give the slight edge to Major League Soccer. You guys let us know in the comment section down below, which league do you think is better, MLS or the Saudi Pro League? Let us know why you think that. Also, make sure you like this show if you enjoyed it. Make sure you follow my friend Fabian Rankel on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads. What what else you got? Carvana, all these things. Check them out on that, okay? And also check them out on Urban Pitch. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little bell notification so you never miss a video. Favi, what's your final word, my friend?
Yeah, if no one's gonna put pressure on these owners to, loosen up the rules, then it's never gonna happen. So we have to do it as a fan base. We have to, at least voice our opinions that, hey, we want to see higher quality soccer in the United States. Because I think all of us deep down inside, me, Will, we both started doing this because we wanted to see soccer grow. And at this point, I think we're stunting its growth a bit, especially with the World Cup coming. And now that we know that the Club World Cup was so much fun and the world is watching, we should use the Club World Cup to kind of gauge our league. And it's going to be tough without Messi this next time around.
I agree. Appreciate you for coming on, my friend. We will see what happens. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.